So, hello everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. I am BlackOpsAmazing. Hopefully you are all having a fantastic day. Today, we are going to be looking at the storyline for Riese. We've gone through Nacht Der Untoten, Verruckt Shi No Numa, and we're finally ending here for World at War at the last map DLC for Riese, the giant where everything began, and also you could say a lot of things ended. If you want to check out my previous videos to find out the whole storyline of World at War, I will leave the links down in the description, but don't worry because I'm going to have a full compacted video coming for you guys as well. I'm going to be setting a like goal of 935 likes on this video. It's an iconic number to reach for the final episode of World at War to bring this storyline together. I think we could reach that, so if you could do that, that'd be awesome. Make sure you subscribe, and let's get straight into the video. Enjoy. I also just want to quickly give you guys a reminder that the zombie storyline is extremely long, so I'm not going to say that I'm 100% confident that I won't get everything exactly right, because this is 8 years worth of a story, but I'm going to try my best. Also, I'll leave sources and links in the description as well. In 1939, at the start of the Second World War, Germany's supreme dictator Adolf Hitler rose to power. Simultaneously, at the same time, Dr. Ludwig Maxis formed a group called 935, which was a German research group, and aim was to improve the conditions of human beings. It was also a little time before this that a new element called Element 115 had been discovered, and Dr. Maxis aimed to use this for his research within Group 935. He was going to use 115 to improve the human conditions by developing advanced technologies, and so to help with this, he enlisted Dr. Edward Richtofen as his senior assistant. As we know, Maxis became kind of a fatherly figure to Richtofen. After the death of Richtofen's parents, Maxis saw that Edward was different to all of the other students at Heidelberg University. He saw that he was smarter, he saw that Edward had a potential along with Maxis at Group 935, and so kind of took Richtofen into his own arms, kind of became his fatherly figure, and as I just said, made Richtofen his senior assistant in Group 935. Now, in 1939, Group 935 was formed.
Gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity to welcome you to Group 935. This is a prestigious moment in the history of our race. You represent the future of technological advancement. You are the pioneers of human discovery. In your hands lies the destiny of mankind. In our hands is a great power, and with that power comes a price. You have volunteered to be part of this great experiment, and with that decision comes the responsibility of absolute secrecy. No one is to know what you do, where you work, what our research has uncovered, or what our purpose will be. You will have no further contact with your governments or with your families. Your decision to fully dedicate your lives to Group 935 is absolute. In your lockers, you will find your Field Ops manual, which will direct you should our manifesto get compromised. We cannot afford to let this power fall into the wrong hands, and therefore the Field Ops manual should be considered your Bible. Make your preparations now. A new dawn is beginning for mankind.
However, the group's goals immediately deterred. They were not successful, and this was due to the lack of funding. Group 935 and Maxis simply didn't have the money to do the experiments and research they needed. And so, Dr. Maxis' only option was to go to the Führer, to go to Adolf Hitler himself, and make a deal with the Nazis, where he regretfully turned to making a contract with the Nazi Wunderwaffe program to use 115 as a power source for deadly new weaponry to help the Nazis win the war. If Group 935 helped the Nazis win the war, in return, they would provide Group 935 with the funding they needed to do their research.
Sophia, this letter is to go to the Reichstag High Command immediately. Gentlemen, it is with the utmost urgency that I draw your attention to the lack of funding being injected into the giant project. While I believe we are close to realizing the ultimate plan, we still have several years of development before it is ready. It would be folly to cut our expenditures so early in our development. As you know, early tests on the DG2 have easily outperformed expectations, and we fully anticipate mass-producing the Wunderwaffe within the next few years. Work on the matter transference has, however, come to a standstill. We simply do not have enough element 115 to continue the experiments. The test subjects have survived the teleportation, but are currently unresponsive to commands and cannot be controlled. If we are to overcome this obstacle, we need to increase the frequency and size of the experiment. To this end, I suggest we find not only a regular supply of 115, but that we also find a larger conduit to channel the energy. Our operatives in America have informed us that the U.S. has a large supply of the element at the Nevada base. So time is of the essence if we are to stay ahead of them. This cannot be done if you cut the budget, nor can it be done if you insist on pressuring us into action before we are ready. I am of course available for discussion on the matter, but in the meantime, I will continue with the work here and try to win this damned war. Signed, etc., etc., Dr. Maxis.
And so that's exactly what happened. The contract between the Nazis and Group 935 was signed. And as we know, later on, this would lead to the giant robots being built to help the Nazis win the war, the teleporters, the Wunderwaffe, all of these new experimental weaponry being built for the advantage of the Nazis. But things wouldn't exactly go to plan. A large supply of element 115 was found in Lower Silesia, which at the time was part of Germany. Right now I believe it's part of Poland. But because of this mass amount of 115 in Germany, Maxis decided to build the headquarters, the base of Group 935 on top of this massive source of 115 to keep the Riese facility running. Once the facility was built and Group 935 was up and running, Maxis began a series of test experimenting with 115 being used to power devices capable of teleportation called the MDTs. While the majority of the tests failed, Richtofen and another scientist called Dr. Schuster conducted a successful test on their own by teleporting a walnut using a microgram of element 115.
Log entry 38, date December 4, 1939. The matter transference prototype is prepared for test run number 151. We have now reduced our test subject's mass to prove that this is possible. Dr. Schuster, please give an overview.
Yes, Dr. Richtofen. We have the new test subject, a walnut, weighing in at 10 grams. The target platform is now at 3 feet with no obstructions. We have 1 microgram of the element, which, according to our calculations, will be entirely used up during tests.
Excellent, Dr. Schuster. Commence test number 151.
Yes, Doctor. Please, insert your earplugs.
We've done it!
We have powered up the prototype and have moved a walnut directly from the prototype device into the receiving device. It moved instantly. It
teleported. Get me Dr. Maxis immediately.
Though Edward assumed it was a sign of progression, Maxis criticised the scientists for failing to work on their assigned experiments. Dr. Schuster and Edward Richtofen were supposed to be working on the Wunderwaffe, but instead, in secret behind Maxis's back, they were working on teleportation with the MTDs. And because Maxis criticised them for doing this, this led Richtofen into thinking Maxis planned to betray the scientists and claim their work as his own.
But this is not the crucial experiments that you are supposed to be working on.
With all due respect, Dr. Maxis, this is a breakthrough of unimaginable proportions.
What? That you moved a walnut a few feet? Yes, Edward. We will improve the human condition by revolutionizing the walnut industry. I can see it now. Edward's walnut delivery.
Don't be obtuse.
How dare you call me that? We are at war, Edward. I will admit that there is promise here. But until this war is won...
Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Maxis, but Group 935 is a research organization. What was the motto? To improve the human condition? What business of ours is this war?
Fine, Dr. Richtofen. I will let you in on a little administrative secret. We are finalizing a deal with the Nazi Party. We need funding. We need equipment. They need new weapons. Chances are this war will end soon with a treaty or two, and we will be in a much better position to help the world.
Are you certain this won't cause massive defections? We have scientists from all over the world working with us.
That is why it is with the utmost confidence that I share this with you. No one will know of this. This is simply the breaking of an egg to make an omelette.
Think of the tactical advantage we would have.
Think of the cost. Think of the time. We can provide the Nazis technical expertise in various areas without putting all our eggs in your walnut basket. Good day, Edward, and get back to your real work.
Bloody jerk.
I think Dr. Maxis has lost his perspective. No matter. We'll do this on our own and publish the findings before he has a chance to.
You're not suggesting that Dr. Maxis would steal this technology and perfect it without us, are you?
I would by no means discourage that thought. Great scientists must stick together and achieve great science.
But despite Maxis' displeasure, Richtofen and Schuster continued their research with the MTD device, and after a month of tests, Richtofen finally agreed to teleport himself. But instead of appearing at the other end of the facility of Riese, instead of appearing in the mainframe teleporter like he was supposed to, he instead arrived at a catacomb on the moon, in front of a large triangular device known as the MPD pyramid. Richtofen became intrigued at this mysterious looking pyramid device and so decided to do the worst thing he could have done, which was touch it. Once Richtofen laid his hand on the MPD, he began to hear a series of voices in his head. Unknowingly, Richtofen gained schizophrenia from the pyramid, in which he then decided enough was enough, this was just really strange, and decided to teleport back to Riese. But there was a problem, and instead of teleporting straight back to the facility, he arrived at an exotic shrine in the Himalayan jungle known as Shangri-La, where Richtofen spent 3 weeks learning of a mysterious energy force known as the Vril. Afterwards, he travelled back to the Riese facility, Group 935's base at Germany, where he started to plan to build a new base on the moon with Schuster and several other Group 935 scientists, all behind Maxis' back.
Entry 42. Date, January 4, 1940. Dr. Schuster and I, despite mounting pressure from Dr. Maxis, have continued working on the matter transference prototype. We have made great strides in the last 30 days and are ready for our first human subject. If our calculations are correct, we will send a test subject, me, to the receptacle station sitting 30 yards away and behind a cinder block wall.
Are you certain you want to do this, Dr. Richtofen?
Nein, Dr. Schuster. But this must be done. Quickly, put in your earplugs and power up the machine. Was there a power outage? Why is it so dark? I feel almost weightless. How very unexpected. Dr. Schuster? Hello? There. I can see now. Oh my God. I'm standing in a circular cave, surrounded by some kind of machinery. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. It looks almost alien in nature. There's a pyramid structure in the center of the room. I'm going to try and carefully touch it. Ah! Static electricity. It's smooth to the touch. Very cold. Not a speck of dust. Might be Hollow. The chamber is quite large. I see what looks like capacitors in the ceiling of the chamber, but there are no obvious connections to anything electrical. What is this place? Dr. Schuster? Is that you? Dr. Schuster? Look at this. It appears to be covered in some kind of hieroglyphic language. I've not seen anything like it before. Why are you whispering to me? There's no need for that. This is loose. Do you hear that? It sounds like... My God! What happened? I seem to be in some kind of jungle. I can't be certain of where I am.
With full knowledge of the MPD in the Vril, Schuster and the other Group 935 scientists then spent the next 2 years at Eagle's Nest transferring equipment to the moon. The reason that Maxis didn't catch them traveling to and back from the moon within these 2 years is because Dr. Schuster, Dr. Groff and other Group 935 scientists were doing this all at Eagle's Nest, which as we know is the code name for Der Eisendrache. Dr. Maxis' main base of experimentation, the main location where he was at the most, was Riese, Lower Silesia. The other Group 935 base called Eagle's Nest, or as we know Der Eisendrache, is located in Australia, where Maxis stayed occasionally. He had his own bedroom, he had his own headquarters, his place of research at Der Eisendrache, but he really didn't spend too much time there. And so when Maxis wasn't there, when he was back at the main headquarters of Riese, Dr. Schuster, Dr. Groff, Richtofen and other Group 935 scientists would use the teleporter at Der Eisendrache to travel to the moon, transferring equipment and building their top secret moon base, which is known as Griffin Station, where they would plan to study the MPD. But Richtofen still knew that Maxis couldn't find out about what was really going on in Group 935. And so, placing Schuster as a superior and Dr. Groff in charge of the moon facility, Richtofen continued his career as Maxis' senior assistant, whom he planned to kill, to assume control, then to enter the ether, using the MPD to take control of its energy.
Gentlemen, for 2 long years we have toiled here and at Eagle's Nest to build our fortifications. For 2 long years we have taken equipment to build up our labs. For 2 long years we have worked under Group 935, believing that Dr. Maxis truly wants to help the world. For 2 long years we've led a double life. Today, that all ends. I bring to you what this project is all about. What I have worked to keep from my enemy.
What is it, Dr. Richtofen? Looks alien.
It is an ancient Vril machine. And you, Dr. Groff, are now the lead scientist here at Griffin Station. You will be the one to discover how it works.
We first must discover what it does.
9, Dr. Groff. I know what it does. It has a direct connection to another dimension.
It's preposterous.
No more preposterous than teleporting all of this gear to the moon and building Griffin Station. Is it?
I suppose not. How do you know what it does?
I have found many interesting Vril artifacts here. I have decoded some of their language. All signs point to this device being a stable gateway to the ether.
Dr. Richtofen, I'm aware of a project being run by Dr. Maxis at Riese concerning Vril.
As am I. I am going back to my post at Group 935 to continue the charade. I will be finding out just how much information Dr. Maxis has on Vril. Once the machine is operational, I will enact my plan and return. Gentlemen, let the games begin. Shh! Voices are so loud!
As Groff and Schuster experimented on the device, meanwhile Maxis and Richtofen began a project to create wonder weapons for the Nazi Party, a deal in which they signed in the contract. Maxis used a blueprint design created by the Japanese research group Division 9 found at the Shi No Numa facility to create the ray gun. A lot of people get mixed up that in fact H. Porter created the ray gun, but it was Maxis that made the first version, and H. Porter was the one working on the next model, where he was trying to increase damage and change a few things around. And as we know, he was successful because if you pack-a-punch the ray gun, it then becomes Porter's X2 ray gun, which is the second generation model that he created. But getting back to the story, so whilst Maxis created the ray gun, Richtofen used element 115 to create the Wunderwaffe DG2, a weapon so deadly even Maxis himself felt uneasy about its mass production. Nonetheless, he still promised Richtofen it would be produced, but his growing attraction to his secretary Sophia prevented him from doing so, and this frustrated Richtofen. This made him angry. The promise that Maxis gave Richtofen about mass producing his weapon never came to be, and Richtofen thought this was because of Sophia. He thought that she was in the way of Maxis, she was preventing him from doing what was necessary. Now, whilst other weapons were produced from several Group 935 facilities, such as the Quantum Entanglement device, made by Richtofen, which as we know is the weapon we use on Moon, and also the second generation ray gun created by Dr. Porter, Maxis focused his attention on matter transference devices, hoping to manufacture them to the Wehrmacht, which, if you don't know, was the unified armed forces of Nazi Germany from 1935 to 1946. And this would grant German forces easy travel within the war, although the initial tests failed, with test subjects either being killed or exposed to element 115, resulting in their deceased cells being reanimated and becoming, but still, although the initial test failed, Maxis continued to experiment on humans for teleportation, but the same thing was happening. They were either being killed or exposed to element 115, which was then turning them into zombies. And each time they became a zombie, they had to be killed. However, the first successful test was conducted after a dog had been sent through the device and failed to return to the mainframe.
Edward, tie the damn thing down! We can't have it running around during the test!
It's tied down now, Dr. Maxis.
Initiating test number 5. Subject is within the test chamber. Activate power.
Searching for vitals. No reading, Doctor. The subject has disappeared. Dr. Maxis, we've done it!
Don't be foolish! Test number 5 is unsuccessful. Subject has vanished, yes, but has not reappeared at the mainframe. Recalibrate the damn system, now!
While Maxis believed the MDT experiments to be failures, the Reichstag saw the creation of the zombies as another advantage in the war, forcing Maxis to change his program from something that was supposed to help improve the human conditions to the total opposite. Maxis was now being forced to create a program to intend to control them, to control the zombies that he was accidentally creating. During the unsuccessful attempts to control the zombies, Richtofen travelled to a Siberian Group 935 outpost. He was there to experiment on 115 and live in test subjects. Richtofen was experimenting on the people in Siberia. He was hoping to produce a serum capable of rendering the human mind responsive to commands from others. Using prisoners of war, Richtofen used Red Army Sergeant Nikolai Belensky, Imperial Army Captain Takeo Misaki, and Mexican soldier Pablo Marinas as his subjects in his tests. Through the process, Nikolai and Takeo's memories were erased, and unfortunately for Richtofen, as we know from the radios in Call of the Dead, Pablo Marinas was killed, and needing 3 people, this forced Richtofen to request a replacement test subject.
Target 1471, date September 2nd, 1845. Die. Another day, another fair. This time, subject N3WP just slightly at the floor. The Russian subject still smells like urine, even after he was given a bath and deloused twice. And I think I might have killed the specimen from Mexico. His spleen is on the floor and he's not moving anymore. I can verify with certainty, however, that the barrier is not located in the sheath. Dr. No matter the cost, I wonder what he might think of the experiment. Nice! Drop that! That's my sleep!
Fortunately for Richtofen, as we know, near enough at the same time, the American OSS spy Peter McCain, who infiltrated Group 935 to report ongoing experiments to his handlers at the Nevada base, was compromised at the 935 facility in Wittenau Sanatorium, which as we know is Verruckt. So a Marine recon team was sent there to evacuate him. That team leader was Tank Dempsey, but as we know, when that Marine recon team got to Verruckt, Peter had already escaped, leaving the team trapped in a site infested with the undead. 3 members of that recon team died. Whilst Tank Dempsey was the only survivor, Group 935 knew that he was the only one there. They were watching, and so they alerted Richtofen that someone special, someone different, had survived at Verruckt. And Richtofen sent them to capture Dempsey for him to become his newest test subject. Once he was brought to Richtofen, he now had all 3 test subjects that he needed. But because of his schizophrenia, Richtofen then also became suspicious of other OSS operatives in the organisation, with Dr. Harvey Yena being one of his suspects. Yena was also present at the Siberian site developing the scavenger sniper rifle. Nonetheless, Richtofen continued his work with 115, which yielded interesting results with each test subject. Dempsey acquired severe anger management issues, Nikolai became functionless without some form of alcohol substance, and Takio's mind was broken with him only speaking Japanese proverbs.
4748, September 20th, 1945. Dear Dial, it would seem that the OSS realized that we captured one of their spies. They tried to send a rescue team into Verruckt. That was all first batch of subjects. I suspect there are other moles in the organization. Dr. Harvey Yena and Dr. Peter McKay, to be precise. Dr. Maxis include any Americans in Group 935, no matter how much genius they had. Stupid Americans with their apple pies and baseball and children. But I digress. The new American test subject is interesting and muscular. His intellect seems low, but his will is strong. Like others, he doesn't seem to know who he is anymore. Unlike the others, he keeps breaking the restraints and yelling at me. Test subject N3WB is still staring at the floor, muttering what sounds like some kind of proverb over and over again. I think his mind may have been destroyed by the prophets. Oh well. The Russian subject recently began responding to stimuli, but only after injecting him with a new serum made primarily from vodka. Perhaps this is a breakthrough we've been waiting.
As Richtofen's research continued, on the other side, Dr. Groff and Dr. Schuster developed the wavegun, and also continued their research with the MPD. When Richtofen returned to Riese from Siberia, World War II was at an end, resulting in the Allied victory and the collapse of the Third Reich. With Group 935 no longer funded because they were no longer needed by the Nazis because it was all over, and a test site overrun, the future looked grim. Though Maxis pressed on to improve the human condition, conducting a 6th test on the MTD. This time though, hoping to mass produce it for public use. Maxis and Richtofen decided to use Fluffy, a German Shepherd, which Maxis gave as a present to Samantha. Samantha was Maxis's daughter. Born between 1930 and 1939, we don't know exactly how old she is, but after Maxis's wife died, who was Samantha's mother, Maxis made sure Samantha was close to him. And so when he had to go to work at the Group 935 facility, he would bring Samantha with him because he didn't want her to get lonely. But due to his deep involvement in his research, Maxis failed to notice that he neglected her. And what he also failed to notice is that Richtofen also experimented on Samantha. As the experiments went on, Richtofen discovered more about Samantha Maxis. And as he learned more, he also grew to hate her. And this was perhaps due to the same reason he hated Maxis, because he thought he was getting distracted because of Sophia. He also thought Samantha, his daughter, was another distraction to Maxis. He thought Samantha and Sophia were the reason why Group 935 had failed to do what Richtofen thought the group's full potential was. Because Richtofen was experimenting on Samantha, she became down, she started crying. Maxis thought this was because she was just upset about her mother and wanted attention all the time and someone to be with. So Maxis brought her the German Shepherd named Fluffy. And Fluffy the dog would come along with her everywhere she went, including to the Riese facility.
Now, you must be very diligent with her, Samantha. Owning a dog is a great responsibility.
Yes, Father. Oh, I love her.
You must feed her every day and walk her, and be very careful when you play with her. You know she's going to have puppies.
Really? Can I keep the puppies too, Father?
We'll see, Samantha. One step at a time.
Now getting back to present time, as I said, Maxis and Richtofen used Fluffy, the German Shepherd which Maxis gave as a present to Samantha. To their astonishment, she was successfully teleported from Teleporter Z to A, spawning an orb of lightning in her place. After being successful, Maxis and Richtofen continued to experiment on Fluffy, but this was one day ruined when Samantha arrived in the lab, where she saw Fluffy disappear. Samantha questioned her father on what was going on. She asked him where Fluffy had gone, but quickly, through the lightning, the dog returned. Though this time with 115 reanimating her deceased cells and turning her into something which is what we now know as the Hellhound. The experiment with Fluffy had gone wrong. The same thing happened as before with the humans, where they would turn into zombies, only this time it was with Samantha's dog Fluffy, and she had turned into a Hellhound.
Initiating test number 6. Subject is within test chamber. Activate power. Damn it, Edward! Did you set up the device correctly?
Yes, Doctor. As per your specifications.
If you had done it to my specifications, then it would have worked, wouldn't it? As usual, your incompetence has...
What? Do you hear that, Doctor?
Quiet, you fool! Test number 6 is a failure, but the experiment has caused some kind of electrical force energized within the chamber. Well, open the door!
Doctor, I don't think...
Open the door, now!
As Samantha saw what her dog had turned into, she started crying, she became scared. Samantha then ran into the corner of the teleporter, scared, crying. Maxis chased her in an attempt to calm her down and keep her safe and tell her to stay back from the Hellhound, stay back from Fluffy, as it wasn't Fluffy anymore. But this then left Maxis and Samantha trapped up a corner in the teleporter. With the Hellhound Fluffy cornering them both in the teleporter, Richtofen saw this as a golden opportunity. After wanting to kill Maxis for so long, after wanting to get rid of Samantha after seeing her as a nuisance, Richtofen saw this as his golden opportunity to get rid of them both, and so proceeded with his plan by locking them both in the teleporter with the Hellhound. He closed the door of the teleporter, trapping them both in, and attempting to murder them both, he activated the teleporter. And so, they were gone.
Daddy, what are you doing with Fluffy?
Damn it, Samantha, I told you never to come in here. Edward, get her out of here.
Yes, Doctor.
What's wrong with her? Daddy, what did you do? Fluffy!
Come back here, Samantha! Stop her! Easy. Come here, Samantha. Good girl, Flossie. Gently, Samantha. That's not Flossie anymore. We must get out of here. What? Edward, what are you doing? Open the door! Edward, open this door now!
I'm scared.
Don't go! Stay by me, Samantha!
Goodbye, Dr. Maxis.
Dr. Maxis. Now, unbeknownst to Richtofen, Maxis had been teleported to the caves, the caverns of Shangri-La, while Samantha arrived at Griffin Station, where the MPD, because Schuster and Groff were doing experiments on it, was open. Terrified from not knowing where she was, and because she was basically on the moon in space because of lack of air, Samantha accidentally ran into the device itself, in which she entered the ether and gained control of its energy. Dr. Groff tried to stop her, but it was too late. Immediately, he contacted Richtofen and warned him that both father and daughter had survived. Richtofen thought that teleporting them away with the dog would kill them both.
Mr. Schuster, report.
The tanks are full and the shields are down. The machine is humming nicely.
Good. And what of the shipment?
Most are buried outside of the base. The live ones we've sent back to Kustva-Posten.
Excellent. There is nothing left but to wait for Dr. Richtofen's return.
Perhaps this is a good time to work on my low-gravity putting in the biodome.
Yes. A little leisure time would.
Intruder detected. Receiving bay. This is not a drill.
Security, report.
This is not a drill.
Can you repeat?
She's coming right toward them. Get her! Get back here!
Nay, do not let her! Damn it! Dr. Schuster, find a way to get her out of the pyramid. I will contact Edward and let him know there has been an incident.
Richtofen told Graf and Schuster to locate Maxis, bring him back to the station, and finish him off. Using the MPD's ability to teleport matter, Schuster and Graf teleported to where Maxis was. They found his location, where they grabbed him and brought him back to the moon base.
I hope this works. Schuster, power it up.
Systems nominal. Accessing Vril device. Interface via MPD active. Accessing MPD. MPD integrity check nominal. Awaiting input.
Excellent. Bring the sample.
Analyzing MPD. Creating profile. Profile created.
Excellent. Now, scan for target.
Yes, Doctor.
Target located.
Bring him here. Immediately.
Greetings, Dr. Maxis.
Schuster, I should have known. Where is that rat Edward? Where are we? And how did you get me out of that wretched
None of that is important right now. Allow me to fill you in.
They threatened Maxis and told him to tell Samantha to leave the MPD pyramid. So fearing for his life, Maxis said yes. Maxis told Samantha not to be scared, and after promising he loved her and he was sorry for everything, Maxis, in anger, told his daughter to use the ether's powerful energy to destroy Group 935 and anyone daring to continue their dangerous work. You then hear in the radio after Maxis says this a gunshot go off. It's unclear whether he committed suicide or Dr. Roth killed him, shot him for saying this to Samantha. This only made Samantha even more angry, and fulfilling what her father had told her, she now set off to destroy every member and remnant of Group 935, and the main target was Richtofen.
Samantha, honey, Daddy is here. Come, dear, please. Open the machine. Daddy will not let them hurt you anymore. Honey, Daddy knows he's made some mistakes. I am truly sorry that you were put through so much. When your mother died, I could not bear the thought of losing you, too. That's why I kept you so close. I did not mean to neglect you. I just wanted to know you were safe from harm.
Daddy!
I love you, Samantha.
I love you too, Daddy.
Can you do something for me? Something very important.
Yes.
Kill them all. We are doomed.
In control of the zombie horde, she now ordered them to slaughter anyone involved with the organisation. With the Riese site now becoming overrun with zombies, Richtofen quickly released his 3 test subjects, Nikolai, Takio and Dempsey, and told them in order to live, they need to listen to exactly what he says. That they need to follow and do what Richtofen says. Realising that Samantha was now in control of the ether, he devised an alternative plan to gain ultimate power, which was to use a Vril generating device on 115 to switch souls with Samantha and enter the ether as an all-powerful being. being. And so Richtofen set his new plan in motion. Now this part's a little bit unclear, but it's thought that with the other 3 members, he then teleported to the Rising Sun facility to locate a supply of element 115. But discovering that the site had become populated by zombies, this forced the group to fend off against the zombie hordes. And due to the possibility of being overwhelmed, the 4 then abandoned the site and returned to Riese. Like I said, that part's a little bit unclear, but we do know that they somehow did travel to Shi No Numa. After returning to Riese, Richtofen then quickly thought of a plan to escape the facility. The crew jumped inside of the MDT teleporter, where Richtofen shot it with a charge from the Wunderwaffe DG2. Overloading the teleporter, it sent the crew rippling through space and time, sending the group into the future, into the 1960s, to an abandoned theatre in Germany known as Kino Der Toten. So there we go, guys. That is the full story of Riese. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. I spent absolutely hours just recording the audio alone. Probably going to take a few days to edit, so if you've enjoyed the video, a like rating would be very much appreciated. It really does only take 1 second. Subscribe if you want some more videos like this. Make sure you leave a comment, let me know your thoughts on the zombie storyline in the comment section below, and of course I will see you all in the next video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
But I'm all out of hope. Auf Wiedersehen, my friend.
Warning, the shield is now active.
Damn it!
Scientists
I can't find my pills.
designated materials and report to the barracks.
They are coming.
This is not Vril.
I must do what I must do.
The shield is now active.
God forgive us all.
To destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active.